allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a roll call, please. I guess I should speak to the microphone.
Coe.
Here.
Transier.
Here.
Milszewski. Here. Clocher is absent. Bunkhauser.
Here.
Frieders.
Here.
Chirulis.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome everyone who came today. Is there any, first we need to have a motion to approve the agenda.
No, you just asked for amendments.
Oh, I was reading that. We do a little differently here. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, are there any amendments to the agenda? Well, that was just as easy. Okay, seeing none, next thing we have our presentations with the YMCA. We have some individuals here from the YMCA who would like to speak to us. Who's going to speak? If you could step to the microphone and state your name. Thank you, Councilmember, please.
Social Security number. Good evening, my name is Larry Nelson. I'm the treasurer and director of the Fox Valley Family YMCA and have been 25 plus years. With me here this evening is Becky Morphy, the chairman of the Y, who has been on the Y board since the conception. And Stephanie is our executive director. And they're here with me this evening. The reason I came here this evening was to talk with you all about a matter of litigation that's been pending since 2016 between the YMCA and the city of Yorkville. Back right after the Great Recession, we decided that we wanted to expand our facilities to the east over into the Yorkville area. We started looking for property, and we pieced together, through some foreclosures, a number of banks that liquidated and consolidated with each other, some land at Cannonball and Galena, 27 acres. We put that piece of land together, and we then came to the city of Yorkville and asked if they would de-annex us, because adjacent to us is land that is not incorporated. It's in unincorporated Kendall County. They basically said no. Actually, the mayor kind of said, well, think about it, and never could get him to call back. And then after that, we were told no. So at that point, we filed a lawsuit asking for de-annexation. There is a provision in the law, I'm not a lawyer, but so they tell me, that if you're over 20 acres, which we are 27, you can do that, and if you're adjoining some unincorporated land, which we are. The parcel of land that we have, we want to build an east facility. It will start out with a smaller footprint and eventually grow into a full-fledged Y like we have in Eldamy and Route 34. The Y serves about 7,000 members. We have some 20 directors, and we are the largest non-for-profit in the county. I have a large map here, but I'll pass some around so everybody can see it. If you want to take one and pass it on. This is what is coming around. This is out of your zoning map book, offline today. It shows where our parcel of land is. The white area around it is unincorporated. The land to the north of us is Montgomery. The land in yellow next to us over on the other side of Cannonball is the city of Yorkville. I'll supply title. So then in 2016, we filed our action in court, asking the court to do it. We've kind of been stuck there in what I call legal procedural going nowhere with 30 and 60-day intervals ever since. I have here also, finally about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, there was a hearing, and the judge thought that the city of Yorkville and the YMCA people should get together and see if they can resolve it. After that meeting with the judges in the chambers by the attorneys, myself, Becky, and Stephanie were asked to meet with Bart Olson, your city manager, and we did in a conference room off of the judges' chambers over at the courthouse. We left that meeting with what we thought we had an understanding of what we were going to do, because the city of Yorkville had told us that they didn't want to let us out of the city because it might adversely impact other persons who might want to leave the city of Yorkville. We have always contended we're what I call a purple cow, is we're a not-for-profit. The land is not taxable, so the buildings and the amenities that go there will be no tax base to the city of Yorkville. We're on the edge. We're at the top of the watershed, so nobody flows through us. There's none of those issues. So we're kind of out there on our own, and we'd like to be in the unincorporated part of the county. We left that meeting, went back and prepared based on what we thought we had an agreement with a settlement agreement. I have a copy here. I'll pass it around to everybody. We signed it and sent it back to the city a number of weeks ago. And then last week, I called the city manager and said, where are we at with all this? And eventually, that Friday, that would have been 2 Fridays ago now, apparently the city manager has finally got something back from your attorney, and she indicated that she wanted to radically change what we thought we had agreed to that day. And I'll pass around her copy with the red highlighted sections. And the changes that she wants to do subsequently change what was agreed on. I just want to kind of cut to the chase and say here this evening, this whole case could be settled very simply by you just allowing us to de-annex. This agreement we've tried to put together and work out with the city of Yorkville has had us stuck there for 2 years, not going anywhere. I assume we cannot make everybody happy. So I guess I'm here this evening on behalf of the Y to ask if you would just allow us to de-annex. We can stop this agreement and billable hours to attorneys, and we can get on with building our Y and everything can move forward. The alternative is we have an agreement that we thought was fair based on what we thought we had agreed to, which you see and have a copy of tonight signed. We're willing to do that if that's the way you want to do it. If not, we would just as soon go back in the next 2 weeks where a judge is ruling and go with it wherever it goes. So, I don't know if there's any questions or anything else I can help with.
You mentioned the judge's ruling. Is there some type of motion pending, or are you anticipating a hearing happening?
I'm not a lawyer, so I will, after everything we've said over since 2016, I don't know what there is left to be said. To me, it's pretty simple. We would like to de-annex. We have tried to accommodate staying in the city of Yorkville if there were certain things they would do as far as our inspections, building code, and zoning. I don't know if you have a hearing on the settlement agreement or if you just go back to the original petition, which simply says we want to de-annex. Pardon? I didn't hear that.
The city council will be updated in executive session tonight. So
Fine.
that those of us on the council that weren't privy to all that you're explaining will get a explanation.
It's been a lot I've been privy to by going every other month since 2016 to a hearing over this. So we would like to settle this and get it over with. Just would like to know one way or the other from the council.
Other questions? Comments? I have a couple. So Larry, you use the term radical.
Pardon?
You use the term radical to describe some of the changes that were
Yes.
outlined in red. What are some of the radical items in the
Well, for example, one basic thing all along is we had always talked about that the city of Yorkville would not do the inspections or enforce its building code on the property. Substituted for them would be the county of Kendall, and they would do all the inspections and have the final say. We thought that's what we had agreed to when we left the conference at the courthouse. And when it came back from the lawyers, it now had a couple of layers put on top of it, that after the county got done inspecting it, then the city could inspect it, and if the city didn't agree with the county, then we could go to an arbitrator. We're trying to build a law with money that we raise and everything else. We're trying to build a building. We don't need to go to arbitrators and go through all of that. There's other things in there about we want it to be judged by the fire district based on the unincorporated standards, and they want to change that. You can see what they are in there. I just thought I'd give it to you so you had it first unit.
Well,
And by the way, that's what we got back,
No,
unannounced.
here's things. I look at some of these, I can understand your concern on that, whether the council agrees with that or not, I can understand your concern, but I look at this one. This is in red. In the event that the subject property is not used as a Foxville Family YMCA campus, the following provisions shall not go into effect. Is that considered radical?
That one is not.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to find.
I mean, if you'd like me to stay in executive session, I'd be happy to go through and explain it all.
Well, I mean, we have others here, that's all I'm just trying to figure out which ones you really have bones with.
I think the simplest way to end this, because we've been going back and forth with these things now for 2 years, is we came forward with an agreement based on what we thought we had all agreed to verbally. I think either, and you have a copy of that signed in there, which we supplied the city manager with, and I think the attorneys were supplied with. I assume they were. We'll go with that settlement, or we'd like just to be able to be annexed, or we'll ask for the judge's ruling.
So for example, on page 3, letter F, this phrase here, I'll read it and I'll highlight the red phrase. The United City of Yorkville shall retain jurisdiction for future development and zoning purposes on any portion of the property if sold and not owned by the Fox Valley Family YMCA, now the red, I'm going to emphasize now, or if the property is not occupied by the Fox Valley Family YMCA.
Those were some things that we had initially talked about doing, and we had no problem with it. That was probably 3 years ago. We're still not opposed to that per se.
Okay.
But you can't just selectively read things. You have to take, these were the changes that were given back to us. We had to agree to settle.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
One of the first 10 rules I learned as an elected official is that cities don't shrink. They tend to absorb more and more to help kind of cover the costs of the things that you're investing in as a community. The way that you explain this, it all comes down to inspections and then our standards. So our standards include 40% masonry on the front of the building. We've got things that are over and above what the county expects.
That's correct.
For a good reason. We have standards that we as a community have decided on that we abide by. If it's a matter of cost, I believe there was a thing in here we talked about, waiving certain inspection fees, that's fine. Or permit fees. I mean, there's always a way to kind of come together on that. But if it's a matter of, number one, allowing 27 acres out of the city of Yorkville, and then that would be into perpetuity, or it's a matter of coming to an agreement to make things work for you financially, that seems like a conversation that we could have had 3 years ago.
rather than receiving information that we can only talk about in executive sessions. We're getting sued. So my confusion comes into how come this wasn't a conversation as opposed to a litigation?
We
So
actually met.
I'm just going to speak real quick, and I will defer to you when I'm done blabbering. I've had a lot of coffee today, so sit tight. The thing that I'm concerned with is that this would set a precedent. If you start saying, sure, go ahead, sure, go ahead, sure, go ahead. We've already got a whole bunch of pocketed holes throughout the city. And the new administration has basically said we're not going to go after and fill in those holes and make it one contiguous United City of Yorkville. That's the reality. We're going to work within that framework. Now, to have this conversation having been started 3 years ago, the way that it was started, just for the lawsuit, tells me that there's no discussion. This is what we're doing. So from my perspective, number one, cities don't shrink. They don't voluntarily give away parcels of land that could potentially help us with the tax revenue, which would then help us pay for the infrastructure that we all have to invest into, because I'm worried about water in 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So from my perspective, and this being close to my house and a place that I would be driving every day, if this is something that I'm going to be seeing every day, I would much rather have the city standards of the masonry and the lighting and all the other things that come with it. And it includes the fire safety. My children and my family spend money at the Fox Valley YMCA quite frequently. So I would like them to have higher standards. Granted, I understand it's a financial reason. So if you know what the financial bottom line is for you, maybe that's a conversation we can have in private. But the fact that this was brought up in this way just tells me that it's easier to push your way into something that cities just don't do. Like that's one thing that I ask, well, why can't you just annex it or de-annex it? Cities don't de-annex things. That doesn't make any sense. Because eventually, when you guys move on, that potential property could help us generate taxes to, again, fund the infrastructure that we're all buying into. So from my perspective, this just seems like a push. This doesn't seem like a conversation. So now I'm done. Sorry.
Well, I was. Sure.
Just a point of order for the attorney. Should this be discussed out here, or should we be doing this in the executive session first?
I agree.
Privilege of the chair.
It's privilege of the chair. We're in litigation with this one, so is it appropriate for us to be discussing this?
Quite frankly, if you want to ask questions, that's a question. If you don't, it's fine.
First of all, I was asked here today to be nice, but to address your comments, I would have to go back on my word, because we started out being nice. We met with your mayor at a park bench and talked with him and expressed our concerns. We talked to the city administration and expressed our concerns, and they didn't want to listen. That's what started the lawsuit. And we're not making Swiss cheese out of your city. We are on the outer edge. There are hundreds of acres next to us that are not in the city. So this isn't the hole in the donut that you just spoke of.
No, not at
It's
all.
just on the edge. We don't need your sewer or your water. Matter of fact, we just do not have it, because we had a bad experience once before with your water. But I was asked to be nice. I mean, I don't know where we want to go. You brought it up.
Any other questions?
Go ahead, we should be on this one. The water issue, we've been talking about this quite extensively. You know, that we want to try to minimize separate wells within the city, knowing what we're looking at in the long-term water aspects here. So anytime we have someone coming in and saying we want to put in a well, you know, we don't know what the ultimate uses of this is. It going to have pools? Is it going to have sprinklers, you know, for irrigation, that kind of thing? What type of water usage is going to be there? How big is the facility? Wells are systemically problematic in the long term. You know, so that's a consideration for us. That's one thing.
I believe your water's off of a well. Is that problematic?
And that's why we are
Is it?
considering alternatives to that. This is just part of the discussion.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
just
I'm not
saying.
saying that it's bad for you to have this. This is part of our discussion, our considerations of, you know, one of the items in here is you would like to consider having both up. We understand that's it.
If I'm in the county, I don't have to consider it. I can do it.
Right, and that's,
So I'm not, yeah.
that's why we as a
Semantics
city,
now.
we're looking to protect the municipality as a whole. And protecting the municipality means we have to look at all aspects. If people are tapping into wells all around us, that's affecting our water supply. That's one issue. You know, we've gone through a lot of these in terms in the past about what are the different reasons and rationales for the building code. You know, we talked about our many aspects as compared to the county's building code. So that one never really made sense to me as to why the building code is an issue. I understand your intent for the inspections, you want the county, if you're in the county, you want them to do it, but what would be the difference of using the more restrictive county building codes when the city's codes are less restrictive?
We're kind of opening up a Pandora's box, and I'll have to start into it if that's where we want to go. We can do it in executive session, or we can do it open, I don't care, your choice.
I mean, these are just questions I've had, and I'll be candid, I've never really received a full answer as to why some of these requests are coming up. And I know we've been back and forth, but there's been a lot of questions on these issues.
So why don't we do this? When we go to executive session, talk about it, if there's questions, come with a list of questions that we'll answer. And that's fair, they can do what they want from there.
Your choice.
Any other questions? Jake, please.
The property that's east of you, that's in the county,
Yes.
is, what is that right now?
Ag.
Scotland?
Well, it's ag, and there's a couple of houses on it.
Okay, so you're saying, well, it's, I'm kind of jumping on what you're saying. You're saying that's next to you, and it's county. Well, what if at some point Dax comes in and decides they want to annex, and then we have another pocket? So that's just a concern. We can't really, we don't know the future of what's going to happen on that property, so that's just a concern I have, that again, there goes another little pocket.
Well, may I ask why Yorkville went out and surrounded unincorporated land with their city and created pockets? Is that good planning?
It's happened
Is it
over
good
so
planning?
many years. No, it's not good planning, but
Oh,
it's
then you
happened
did it all over the place.
over how many years though? So we're trying to have good planning now, and be more conscious of it. And so just because we did it in the past, it didn't work out, why should we do this in the future? It's kind of, we can argue that way.
Other questions? Okay, everyone's had a chance to speak. We will talk about it in executive session.
When will we expect to hear from the city of Yorkville?
And now the meeting goes to closed session. Might be tonight, might be in a week. Really depends on the closed session goes. I can't give you the answer until we discuss it as a group.
Will be excessive amount of time over 30 days?
I would hope not. Okay, public hearings. Do we have any public hearings tonight? We have no public hearings. Citizen comments on agenda items. Are there any? No. Once again, there's no consent agenda. Minutes for approval. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next we have bill payments. We have bills listed for $137,865.92 for FY19 vendors, $163,442.02 for FY20 vendors, $192,151.25 for wire payments. Payroll for the period ending 5/31/19, $291,234.88 for a grand total of $784,694.07. Is there a motion? A second. Second. By Peterson. I didn't say it, but I'm not sure. I'm supposed to say that for the people listening. Sorry. Not here, but people who listen later like the press. Okay. Roll call, please.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Truist.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Milczewski.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That's a very good point. There's only one female. You know how it sounds on tape, though. You know how it sounds on tape. Okay, the mayor's report. We have,
And we're going to
an appointment, yeah, where's that at? What's the name? Is that the, that, I don't have it. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, that was for Dan. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, we have an appointment to the Unified Development Ordinance Advisory Committee appointment, and that's for Mr. Transier. Thank you, Dan, for volunteering, I appreciate it. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
All in favor? Okay, roll call, that's awesome.
No.
Okay, perfect, then we'll keep on. Then there's an appointment for the Planning and Zoning Commission Chairman, and that is for Jeff Olson. Is there a motion and a second for that?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, now, these next ones, we're going to have the chief speak about these just a little bit. If you have questions, you can ask them. We have a couple of use agreements with the Oswego Police Department, one's for the firing range and one's for the assumption of risk covenant not to sue, and a lease agreement for use of defensive tactics. So, chief, if you would discuss those just briefly. Let's take the first one.
Yes, the agreement on the firing range is a standard agreement that several of the other municipalities adjoining us have already signed off on. There is no cost on this. They are just sharing their facilities with us. They are a partner. This is not any different than a lot of other agreements we have with other agencies to use their facilities as well.
Any questions on the firing range? Is there a motion to approve the firing range?
Motion.
Second, I heard, Steve, I heard you. You get that motion. Now, who was the second over here? Okay, Mr. Peterson. Okay, we'll do a roll call on that, please.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Wilczewski. Aye. Funkhauser.
Aye.
Tarulas.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And then the second one, Mr. Harper.
This is a second agreement that we've done. We had a previous agreement with Oswego to use their defensive tactics room in their whole police department. This is for the new one. Again, this is just simply to allow us to use their facilities.
Any questions, Mr. Funkhauser?
Just one on, I guess it's the second page, number 3, condition of equipment. The last line says, I have read and understanding Oswego Police Department rules and shall abide by them. They're not listed here, or is it, what rules would those be specifically? Since it's,
And I don't have them with me, so I apologize right now, and I apologize they're not attached to that. It's just a basic list of rules when you go in there on the types of stuff we can do and what parameters we have to follow. And we can't be doing stuff that they would call here dangerous and stuff like that.
in fact, I've listed them, but it's not specifically attached to it. Not certain what they're referring to.
Other questions? If you could email those to Mr. Funkhauser, please. Can we do a roll call, please?
Do we have a motion? and a
Oh,
second?
no, we don't.
Motion.
Wait, let's see, was that one Cedar
No,
Meeting?
I didn't get on this birthday.
Oh, my gosh.
First one.
Okay, I think I heard it over here. I heard a second over here. Excellent. Now, good catch, that's very important. Small details, we do need motion. Okay, let's do a roll call now.
Wilczewski. Aye. Funkhauser.
Aye.
Tarulas. Transier.
Aye.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Excellent, thank you. The only other thing I have here to report is just, and I think I spoke volume on this, that the county and the city are looking at potential IGA for doing some improvements on Mill Road. We also know Mill Road needs to be improved. The county's looking at doing some improvements at the Galena Road and Kennedy Road intersection. And then we're looking at doing some improvements, Mill Road, onto Kennedy Road. So we're going to look at some different things here. But even if we don't do the joint project there, we're still going to look at the cost of having the county improve Mill Road for us this year, stripe it. It wouldn't be a 15 or 20 year fix, but it'd be something that we can get a good road, get it for the winter, be good for 3 to 5 years. And talking to Mr. Deuce, he thinks we would probably spend maybe 30, 50 grand this year on patching and potentially the same amount next year. So just something we're looking at. We don't have anything to bring forward at this point, but I just want to talk about it because it's been out there. I think, Ken, did you attend the meeting today?
Yeah.
Yeah, the county, they discussed.
Framework and those.
Okay.
They approved their study, I think, so.
We have asked them to attend next Tuesday. So just want to make you aware that that's out there, that you may hear about it publicly, so I figured we just talk about it. So, I do. Gee, Ms. Moore. Yeah, thank you. You're us off the wrong one. Okay, next one, well, this is actually very interesting. So we have I'd like a motion for 2019-39 ordinance increasing the age for the sale and possession of tobacco products, electronic cigarettes, and alternative nicotine products. Is there a motion?
So moved.
For a second? Okay, Milszewski, the only female voice. And Seaver again. That's twice.
I'll talk a lot. Actually.
Oh, well, you don't need a motion.
No,
No,
I'll just talk about it.
okay. I'm not even making motions anymore. Okay, Bart, is this something you want to address?
Sure. The state of Illinois passed a law making the age of tobacco sales 21. That goes into effect on July 1st. And so we have to amend our ordinance to be able to enforce our local tobacco license at age 21. We do enforcement stings every once in a while. And so in order to do that, we change the law. Additionally, the license that we had previously approved and had in place for years was a license in perpetuity. So we have businesses that go defunct, and we wouldn't necessarily know other than through common knowledge because they can hold their tobacco license forever. And so we changed that to an annual renewal fee, just so we at least know which entities in town are currently selling tobacco, and so we charged a $5 annual fee thereafter. So I would hope that would offset at least some of the cost of having to reduce that every year.
Any questions or comments?
Did you receive, go ahead, please. Did you receive any feedback from the retailers about having to review the applications every year in addition to the fee?
For the record, this is Mr. Chancer.
We did not, but we have great overlap with liquor licenses and tobacco licenses. So liquor licenses are annual. We figured that the additional $5 was not going to hurt them.
Mr. Funkhauser, do you have a comment or question?
I have a question of clarification. On letter K, it reads sale near church or school, but when you get into the details, it does not specify church within it. It outlines other uses, but not the church. Is that something that should be added on there as the rest of the uses are actually cited down there?
That's taken directly from state code. That's
Out state code?
Yeah, that's the reason.
Because I just skimmed through the state code and I didn't find
I thought it was taken.
that language from there. Because that's, the state code is attached.
Would it be fine elsewhere within our city code potentially?
Well, within 100 feet of any school, childcare facility,
Yeah.
which in your agenda.
Yeah, specific, it says church or school, but then when you get down to the details, and it says within 100 feet of any school, childcare facility, or other building used for education.
Oh, and you're saying the churches.
Church is not listed here. And is that read by the state statute that it defines this clause somewhere as its local?
Don't think so, but,
Can we clarify?
well, we can just add church in.
If we add just church, that does.
Adding the word church on the second from the penultimate line of subparagraph K.
Do you believe that is state language?
My understanding was, and if you can't find it in the law, it was there, but in any event, I think that corrects your issue.
Did you mind add the word church?
Yes.
Yeah, is that a motion to amend?
We need a motion to amend?
We did.
Yes.
Motion to amend, as noted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on, actually, any discussion on the amendment? First, we'll need to vote on the amendment. And the amendment is to add the word churches.
Correct.
That's
No,
the attorney said.
subparagraph K.
Excellent. Okay, we can do voice vote on the, Mr. Bowman, go ahead with comment or I'm
I
sorry.
guess my suggestion would be, this is going into the realm of approving something subject to legal review, which is going to require Kathy to craft some language and then insert it into the agreement after approval. Historically, we have not done that because we have run into issues in the past. I guess my suggestion would be to approve it as is, have her do the research. If she finds out that church is not defined somewhere else, then bring back an ordinance that cleans it up, rather than give her the discretion to be able to add something in that you guys have not reviewed yet as a group.
Your issue was just that it wasn't stated in both places.
Yes.
Not that he has a problem with church.
I understood the issue to be that it's referencing church and church is not defined. So is that not the case?
It's stated in one line and not stated in the other.
Oh, okay.
So church is amended as you just clarified the problem.
Okay, so is Mr. Olson out of order?
Sure, I like
He's
that.
over that.
Okay, so any other comments or questions on the
No,
amendment?
I'm right, you got it.
Okay, so we will do a voice vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Excellent, motion carries. Now we're back to the main motion with the word churches added. Is there any further discussion on the amendment motion?
Quick question, Mr. Olson. If we don't approve this, does that mean that Yorkville for a few weeks could be like Wisconsin and Indiana with fireworks?
No.
No.
Think of the weather.
There you go, I like that. Okay, any other real discussion on the main motion? We will do a roll call, please.
Frieders.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Olszewski. Dunkhauser.
Aye.
Rules.
Aye.
Transier.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, thank you for your comments. Okay, did I miss anything else on the mayor's?
No, sir.
I jumped the gun, but thank you for being on both sides of the correction. Okay, now we'll go to Public Works Committee report. Do we have any? No report, okay. EDC report,
No report.
Public Safety Committee report. No report. Administration Committee report. No report. Park Board.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Summer Solstice, in partnership with the United City of Yorkville, Road Barrister Records, the Law Office Pub and Music Hall, Ingemanson Law, and Superior Beverage, starts a week from Friday, on Friday, June 21st, with the gates opening at 5 p.m. and music starting at 5:45. Friday features local heroes Scott Tipping and Noah Gabriel, as well as national touring acts Babe Club, the High Divers, and the Artisanals. The first indie music and craft beer themed road race of its kind, the Summer Solstice 4-miler and 2-mile walk, steps off at 7 p.m. on Friday evening. Sponsored by Semper Fi Landscaping, the Solo Media Group, South Bank Original Barbecue, and the beautiful Catalan Deal Lord. After Hours starts Friday night at 10 p.m. at the Law Office with Scott Timming and Feed the Dog. Saturday kicks off at 1:30 p.m. with the sultry sounds of my kid's favorite soccer coach, Tim Gleason, followed by local heartthrob Aaron Kelly, and then national touring acts Frederick the Younger, Invisible Cartoons, South City Revival, and the always classic previous recipient of the Key to the United City of Yorkville, Summer Solstice standout, Corey Chisel. After Hours starts Saturday night at 10 p.m. at the Law Office with South City Revival, The Second Winds, and Frederick the Younger. See you downtown. Is that good, Mr. Mayor?
That was Mr. Raiders for the record.
Thanks for everybody.
So I need to back up for one other thing on the mayor's report. I was mistakenly forgetting one. I will be out of town next week, so any road crisis comes up, Jackie. So thank you. Anything else in the park board? No. Planning and zoning commission? Anything? Sweet. City council report? Do we have anything? Do you have an update for us?
Yep. Just a quick update on the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month Proclamation project. Today I had a meeting with Nature's Grace, which is the only family-owned medicinal marijuana grow operation. They're out of Vermont, Illinois, and Hope for the Day. Similar to the project we did with Old Urban Brewing and the Hops for Hope beer can label with some mental health resource information on it. We're actually starting the process to see about medicinal marijuana containing some more mental health resources and finding new and inventive ways to link PTSD, chronic pain, and the veterans issue of 22 suicides a day, which you all should be aware of if you're not, open your eyes. Hopefully that conversation can start now at the state level because we got some things happening January 1st, which means that more recreational customers, which means more people will see leaflets and paperwork handed out, provided by awesome grow operations such as Nature's Grace and Wellness. That being said, I also have a meeting this Friday with Sarah Sidlasik from the Johnson County Crisis Center out of Johnson County, Iowa. We're meeting them and Hope for the Day, trying to incorporate some of the things that Illinois does well with some of the things that Iowa, believe it or not, does really, really well as far as using text communication to provide mental health services for suicide prevention. So I don't have much of an update as far as numbers are concerned. I do know that Oak Park, Illinois jumped on and Jackson, Michigan And I forget what the number is, because it doesn't really matter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anything else for city council report? Okay. City clerk's report?
No report.
Community liaison reports, any? Staff reports?
We have a couple items, Your Honor. We have a couple building code and planning related meetings. So on Thursday, we're hosting our building code open house to review all the 2018 building codes that we've proposed. That is from 3:30 to 5:30, so it's during the workday. The public is invited, builders, developers, etc. There will be a brief presentation, but it is a meeting such that you can show up half hour before it closes and ask staff some questions about what's being proposed. And then the second is the first UDO advisory committee. It's also meeting on Thursday at 7 p.m. Here at City Hall.
Thank you. Any other staff reports? Additional business? I would ask for one slight change to the agenda. I would ask for citizen comments before we go to executive session. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
That would be one way. Are there any citizen comments? Please step forward. Oh, you're waving. Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Like you're a school kid. So, okay. Well, excellent. Well, I'm glad I moved that. Okay, so there will not be any action after executive session. You're all welcome to hang out if you'd like, but there's not going to be any action. You're welcome to leave too. So anyway, now I will need a motion to go into executive session for items 1 and 2.
So moved.
So I have to read them because they're listed.
You got the second right here.
Okay. First and the second, is that my three years? Yes, Peterson? Okay. For the record, now we're going to do a roll call.
Coach?